here knew it was fictional? Just raise your hand. And then how many people thought it was a real documentary? Oh. And knowing now that it isn't, how many of you are glad that you didn't know? Or how many of you are like, screw you, buddy, how dare you? So, glad you didn't know, screw you, buddy. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, okay. I don't know. Let me just preface this by saying that, you know, when we did this film, we started shooting this, like, what, in 2005, 2004? It was like a very long process. And one of the things that we had said when we were doing it is, much like the me character in the film, how do you make a no-budget film and have people notice it? And it seemed that one of the ways you could have people notice a no-budget film was to have some kind of a controversy about it. And so it seemed logical that the same way my character wants to make a film about suicide to get noticed, that what if we made a film about suicide and pretended it was real? Well, God, people would notice, and they'd see it. And then what happened was the director screened this film in Kosovo, and there was a small riot, and people wanted his head, and they chased him out of the theater. And in this ending, the original ending, I lived, which was horrible. Like, I just walk out of there. So it's even, I think, less satisfying to the audience. And they were like, he said, well, it's not real, it's not real. And they were like, why did you do this to us? And so he came back and he's like, I don't know what to do with this anymore. And so we kind of put it online that it was fictional, but we didn't know how many people would notice that. And when we screened it at South by Southwest, it was very obvious that online that it was a fictional film, but people still showed up thinking it was real. And some people seemed to be glad that they thought that, some people were mad, you know, and it's been hard to know. I'm all for people knowing it's fictional. But I don't know. You know, maybe it's a really interesting experience if you think it's real. Maybe it makes you question yourself and why did you want to see it? Did you want him to die? So I don't know what to say. Any questions? Yeah, I'm very curious to know what you guys have to say. This is a grand experiment, is what it is. So forgive me if it's been odd. Yeah. The question is how do we make it seem so realistic with all the emotions, etc. One of the things, first of all, that we did is we all used our real names. So at any given time, we could film any scene, whether it was a scene for the film or just us hanging out. And at any given time, anything that happened, Daniel, who was the director, who's not here, was constantly filming us. And so there was no script per se. We had a sense of how it was going to evolve from beginning to end, but we never knew what we were going to say or what we were going to do. So everything that happened in the moment. When that guy came in the room and was like, "You're a bastard," I didn't know he was going to do that. And I didn't know how far he was going to go. Like, for all I know, he could be some method actor that was going to tackle me and beat the crap out of me. So, like, there was a lot of sort of things that happened in the moment where we didn't necessarily know where they were going to go. And I think emotionally it was very difficult because it's really hard as an actor to say, oh, I'm in this room with this guy who's about to kill himself, how do I feel? You know, I think the way we got it to be believable is by doing about 1,000 takes of every single scene you saw. Like, there was 150 hours of footage for this film because we just had the ability to keep shooting, and shooting forever, and basically shooting to the point where you were so upset that you were still shooting and you hated the director so much that you were in tears and miserable. And like, it's 4 o'clock, it's like you guys right now, it's like, let me go home! Yeah, you know, I think at one point somebody put like Clorox in their eyes to make them cry, but you didn't hear that from me. I didn't do that, so.
Where do you go from here?
Well, where do we go from here as at the whole film?
No, other projects.
Other projects. Well, Daniel, the director, I produced the film with Daniel. He's now doing a serial killer film. Yeah, and that's why he can't be here, is because he's off shooting a film about like a real serial killer. I made a real documentary called Frank and Cindy that was at the Underground Festival a little while ago. I'm still doing documentaries. I'm not by trade an actor. So I don't know. You know, I'm gonna keep doing documentaries. Daniel's gonna keep making scary, creepy movies. we'll see what happens. I mean, nothing really big has come our way as of yet, so we'll see. But
Did you ever make a real documentary about a suicide?
will I ever make a real documentary about a suicide? I think what we learned in the process of thinking this out as a story from point A to point B, we realized that you couldn't. And that was what this was about. I mean, this film is not really about the ethics of suicide. I don't think, at the end of the day. It's not really about should Matt do it or not. It's really about the lengths that people will go to in making films and the compromises you make making a documentary. So I think what we learned, at least the lesson from this that I think hopefully comes across, is that you can't really do that. You can't keep your hands clean in a situation like that. So I don't know. I'd have to think about if there would be a way. What?
Did you try it?
Would I try it? I'd probably end up dead in a garage. Maybe I would. Maybe I would, but it would have to be, I mean, it'd have to be, I don't know. I don't want to incriminate myself. Maybe, I don't know, yeah. Maybe not, I don't know, yeah. Anyone else? Okay, I'm good, I'm done. I mean, yes, thank you.